I've been recently posting a series of videos discussing how set measurements are used in major public memorials, other public buildings, parks, and so forth, and how it's not just in the Western world, but it also extends across cultures in the modern world, but also goes back across cultures into the ancient world. I began with a series dealing with 72 feet and how those units break down and then reconnect to the Pythagorean tuning system, the scientific tuning, for instance, 256, 192, 288 hertz, and so forth. In this video, it's basically a continuation. The last one I dealt with Canberra and Washington and how the major public buildings there have these measurements in there and how these then link to esoteric slash occult knowledge as to do with particularly with the Freemasons. It's no secret at all. Sacred geometry of Washington is entirely built around Freemasonic occult knowledge. It's uncomfortable for some, but it's a fact. Now, if we go to the US Capitol building here in Washington, D.C., I'd like to note that Wikipedia will have the height at 289 feet. This is actually incorrect, because they're converting 88 meters to feet, which is 288.7, and then they're rounding it up. The building was not built in the metric time, and it is 288 feet, which is 87.7824 meters. 88 meters is just a rounded off. Wikipedia is not a source for serious information. It's a good, I have a love-hate relationship with Wikipedia. It's a good reference point to jump off with. It is not a source. 288 feet high Capitol building, the Mormon Temple in Washington, 288 feet high. Some might say, well, because there's a height restriction and the Capitol building can't be built higher than. That is true, but there's also a deeper meaning into there, and we go to Siena, Italy, where the Tower Mangia, which was the centre of secular power, is 288 feet, while the cathedral is 288 feet. This was designed intentionally to represent an equality between secular and religious authority. Here we can connect that back to Washington and see how there is a very strong connection to there, a religious centre and the secular lawmaking centre. 288 feet. 288 feet is an essential unit inside all houses of law, which I'll examine later. For instance, Canberra Parliament House, the glass pyramid, can be broken down into 288 units, but I'll cover that later. We're sticking with 288 feet and the measurements and the units of measure that it breaks down into, how they will connect to the Pythagorean tuning system still used today. It's scientific tuning. Concert pitch is different to the scientific tuning. 288 feet, 48 fathom, 96 yard, 192 cubits, 384 span. Bode's law and planetary distances, but in previous episodes I've dealt with it, so I won't be repeating myself with weights and measures and metrology. I'm just going to move straight over. And 288 feet is 1,152 palm, and 288 feet, of course, D, 288 hertz. As I've mentioned in previous videos, perfect numbers, for instance, we see 288. The Maya, other cultures, it's just full of these numbers. I've covered that earlier. And, okay, I've just doubled up, doesn't matter. I'll leave that as it is. 288 feet, 864 hand, 86,400 seconds per day. Now, I've left the line 3, 4, 5, 6 empty. The 6912 line, that's the radius of the sun, radius of the earth, radius of the moon, so I'll just leave that as it is now. 288 feet, as again, all these buildings have multiple layers of it, and the dome on the Capitol building has 108 windows in there. Later on, I'm going to talk about the rotunda and the interior of the US Capitol building, layers upon layers upon layers. There you go. Have a good one.